coaching, what we'll do is we'll give you instructions on how to go on here. Actually, on that piece of paper at the bottom, there was instructions, and it's given an enrollment fee.
Yeah, well, I didn't give the coaches specifically the enrollment fee.
Okay, so the enrollment key for coaches is coach, the word coach, all in lowercase, 2013. So when you bring up one of these, bring up the capacity specialist of Jesusville, depending on what you're coaching, then what you'll do is put that in for your enrollment key, and make sure it's pretty clear on the screen where it says participant key and coaches, but just make sure that it's in the
Have a lunch, Mark.
Hey.
Mike, for a couple of our people, I changed them from coach. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so again, in the coaching enrollment, it's the word coach and then 2013, and the word coach is lowercase. So when you bring up the screen, when you go in here, it'll ask for an enrollment key, and it's pretty clear which one's participant and which one's coach. Now, if you're a person who was a participant, you've completed your training, and you're becoming a coach, then we can go in and make that change for you. So Eric, myself, or Doug or Darren can do that, okay? And one of the things that is nice about Moodle is that it gives us the ability to have asynchronous coaching. I shared a little bit about asynchronous coaching, but I'll show you on Moodle what is some asynchronous coaching. And so I'm going to open up the basic field version because this is what I use for tutorials. And I'm hoping it's still set up this way. Don't you love the speed of computers around here?
Michael, do we wait? I mean, we may need to talk afterwards. I stepped into coaching last year because the person I'm coaching, their coach, had a baby and couldn't continue. Mm-hmm. And so I interacted with Ryan Mansfield. He says, that's great. Please go ahead. But I've never, nobody knows I'm doing this.
Uh-huh.
And so I may just need to talk with you.
Yes.
Because, and it was right when we were going Google and Moogle wasn't working or anything.
Yes.
We just gave up with it.
Yes.
Yes. But we've continued on.
Yes.
And so
yeah.
I probably need to talk to you afterwards.
Yeah, myself or Doug or Darren. One of the things that happened last spring was the relay system got botched when we went Google. And people's email addresses went to a standard email, and they're still trying to fix relay 6 months later. So that it did have an impact on how people get into Moodle, the campus wiki, and what it affected was most of the campus internal websites.
Yeah, we were going into wiki and doing everything off the paper, but capacity specialist wasn't there then.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
We can stick with it.
Yeah. So thanks for doing that, Sue. Okay, so whichever course you have is right there, and then you click this button here, and you're going to see the word trainees. So this word right here is trainees. Let me increase that a little bit. So what you're going to do is come in and you're going to click on this word trainees, and it's going to give you the ability to select some people to be your trainees. And we've got tutorials on this, but you select the course that you want, whatever course you want there, and then don't worry about the visible groups thing. And then come down here to the word add more trainees, which is right here, and you click on that. And what that's going to do is give you an option of adding in people to be your trainees. So we're going to look for somebody, their first name starts with a J, last name starts with an S. And I don't know any names like that for now, so I'm going to pick one as it comes up here.
Jan Stewart.
Oh, that might come up. Right there it is. So I'm going to coach Jan Stewart. She needs to go back through again. Just kidding. But what you do is you have a select box here. You put a checkbox in, slide down to the bottom here, and then you choose, and you take the word add trainees. So what that's going to do is add in these trainees to our list. And then you can look here, and you have to switch this back to all because it doesn't do it by default. Then you're going to see all of the names of your trainees here. Okay, so these are the people that I'm training. And then what I can do then is go up here to reports. So I click this little arrow thing right here, and I can come down here to the part that says activity completion coach. This particular report is going to show me the progress that these people have been doing. And apparently, Jan, we've moved you to a coach status, not participant, so you're not showing here. So that's why that's not showing. But as you can see, Allie's been going crazy on her training and getting things done. But one thing that she's done is she's just checked off the boxes. She's not written anything in there. And the reason I know that she hasn't written anything in here is because when you write something in there, this icon here, which is a speak bubble, comes up. Okay? So that's how you can tell if your trainee is just checking off boxes or if they're actually going in and completing the assignment. Okay? So when there is a speak bubble, what you're going to do, it doesn't show up there. Oh, I guess it does a little bit. But there's these faint gray lines in it. That means that it's, you can give feedback. So this is the answer that she gave to the question. And then, the person already gave feedback. So they gave feedback, so good thoughts, Allie. Okay? So that's, if you want to make changes or anything like that, you can do that. And what this does then, when you put your feedback in there, it sends an email to that person. So this allows you to do asynchronous coaching because there's some of these assignments that you may not necessarily want to sit down with them and go through everything with them. I mean, if they're competent in it, if they understand it, move on. But there's going to be areas where they have gaps, and it's going to be evident when you do this that you're going to see those gaps, and that's when you want to get that face-to-face and talk about that gap and help them develop that understanding of what is either the alignment issue that they might have or just a lack of knowledge, and you can fill that in face-to-face. Okay? Does that make sense?
And you want us to do this, each person we're coaching, you'd be doing it online and doing that.
Yeah.
Because there's also different forums where they need to be commenting to each other, correct?
Right. So the next thing is what Eric talked about. Most of the assignments are online assignments. When I say it's an online text is what it's called, and the person goes on and answers a question online, and then you as a coach can see that. There's another assignment that we have in every single module, and it's called a discussion forum. Now what's nice about the discussion forums is that it adds a whole new element to training that we haven't had before, where new staff and interns can learn from each other and encourage one another in their training by being able to do it all together. For those of you who are a little bit older, and you might have gotten trained at the University of Minnesota or Ohio State, and there were training centers there, and several of the new staff and interns, and just new staff back then, they could interact with their material together, and it was a great situation. But then when we disperse people around the country, you would have one new staff here, one new staff there, and they didn't get to really communicate with each other. We still have that issue. So what this does is it provides our new staff opportunities to work together with their training. Okay? So this is a discussion forum here.
Mike, do they have access to the other people that are working through those modules? Can they see what?
Not their online assignments, but their discussion forums, yes.
Okay.
So this is a discussion forum. It says read this article and then give your response. So you can see everybody here who has given an answer. And then, so you as a coach can go on and give a response to your people if you want, or it's just an interaction with the new staff and the interns, okay? So all that is you click on the word in the column discussion, whatever the title is, and then it brings up their response, and then you can hit reply right there. So it's fairly simple with that, okay? So that's the two ways that you guys can do some asynchronous coaching when it comes to working with this, okay? And then, so that's a lot of the education portion of the training.
With that too, we get emails when they accomplish stuff too. We don't have to go in there and search for
Right.
stuff, correct?
Yep. Yep. Waiting for this to come up. So this mainly pertains to the assignments that are under education. Then there's also the experience exposure, and that's where Doug and Darren come in, and taking people on campus with you guys to do some of the experience and exposure type assignments. Sorry, this is a little slower. I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi up here is a little slower. One of the things also with experience and exposure is that you can ask a person to experience things like the Jesus Film trips. There's a lot that they can experience on a Jesus Film trip, as many of you know. That is a benefit to this, and then you can count that as their training. The idea, though, of exposure is that they're watching you do it, or they're watching somebody who has competence in that skill do it. Yes, we're assuming you have competence in the skills. You are senior staff, so that's the idea. We do not, the question was asked, can you count off summer project or experience as a student with this? And what I didn't want to say in front of everybody was no, because some of our staff are incompetent, but that's the reality. Some students and some movements, if you look at their movement indicators, they're horrible. If they were in a normal job, they'd be fired. I don't want that type of ability replicated. So there are certain things that we want everybody to be trained in, and so we try to, not just anybody can be a coach. We take more than just warm bodies. We ask for people who are competent. So that's one of the things with this, okay? So this is the education portion, and then there's some experience exposure. Some of this experience and exposure you can do here, like the testimony. You can demonstrate your testimony with somebody and then watch them give a testimony. Yeah, they can give their testimony. So there's certain things like that that you can do here on campus, and things like that. So, okay. We're basically almost out of time. There is a coaching guide for the capacity specialists online. We have not finished this for the Jesus Film version. Now that we have so many Jesus Film people involved, we didn't have so much in the past. We will put resources towards seeing that happen. So I'm excited that we've seen so much. We've been moving in this direction, but this is the first time we've seen some really good traction, so I'm excited about that. So we'll create a coaching guide for also the Jesus Film version. And we'll also ask for you who are coaches in the Jesus Film, if there's assignments in here that you think should be added or adapted, we can also do that. So we can take this as a beta year for that and make up some of those changes. And you can work through Doug and Darren, and they'll work with me on it too. And we can customize that for you guys. We're doing this for the Athletes in Action. We're in the process right now, so if your Athletes in Action staff, they don't have to use the basic field version that everybody uses. They have an Athletes in Action special one. Bridges International has their own. So this is a norm that we're moving towards. We currently have 10 contextualized versions of new staff training, and we're going to continue to add more. It's just not the one that we all did for 50 plus years. So, okay? Any questions that you might have?
My trainee has gone through module 11 offline. So
That's fine.
do we continue? I mean, this is our notebook. We had our appointment before here, so we have
Right.
it through year 2. So should we just continue doing it this way, or what would your recommendation be?
I would encourage you to go online and just look through the ones that are a capacity specialist type assignment and do those. And if you guys feel like you're doing well and you want to go through the 2 years, that's totally fine, but you don't have to. The idea behind the training here is that people would complete 1 year of training, but there's a lot of other options here, like the Pinnacle training, that can help continue them to grow. One of the things that we want to avoid is people are checking off boxes with just skills. So the nice thing about Pinnacle that comes after this is that it continues to work on a person's character. So that would be the only concern that we have, is to help people continue to grow in their character. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also a mid-career person.
Oh, yes.
12 years as a pharmacist.
Yes.
2 years in China with IMB.
Oh, very fun.
So, lots of experience.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, so I would say just look through the different capacity specialist things.
Yeah.
And she, because she's mid-career and all that, she might have already done these things, already have these skills. So we're going to be having we have a graduation every year in May. So if you...
Well, that's the goal, is for her to graduate.
Yeah, so if you think she's competent with this job description and competent in her role, then we can say that she is ready to graduate.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yep. We didn't introduce Mark Stewart. He came in the room. Mark leads the team with Doug and Darren, and he's an HRX, team leader for staff effectiveness. So, did you want to share anything, Mark?
I'm encouraged to see each one of you. This is awesome. I just think of the developing the one-on-one life-changing that's going to happen with you all. Let's just say thank you.
Yep.
It works.
Yep.
And I just know that they really appreciate that someone who's a little further down the road would help them out. So thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah.
It is a commitment on your part, and I appreciate it. It's much appreciated.
Yep.
And Mike, thank you for all your hard work on this. Mike has done, you know, every year we've taken another step to be more effective, and Mike came and a couple years ago took a hands-on approach and really took us to a whole new level. So thank you, Mike, for
Yep.
all your hard work
Thanks.
on this.
Can I ask you a question too? Just, we're talking with Mark, he's a visionary, and his desire is like 350 other people out there, you know? And Darren and I heard that the first day, wow, like that's a massive job. But then thinking how to motivate people is our main problem here. So we talked about 6 or 7 things. We interviewed the last 3 people, the last 3 years of people who've done this job. It always comes back to motivation. It's not on position focus. They don't know it's 8 hours a week really, but half a day. It's not happening because of a number of things. One of them maybe is just personal encouragement. Now, you coaches are going to be doing this as best as you can with everybody, but could it be that we have 2 or 3 in a group, and like a little training group, call it TG or an action group, what do you call it, where that little group becomes your little exciting little group that you're mentoring, caring for, and you're connecting them with us going out. You're saying, Friday, we're together, baby, and we're going to have fun. Go to Starbucks, get a cup, I'm buying, we're going to have fun. Internationals, man, there's a Friday night thing going on. There's a campus outreach going on. Every Wednesday at 3:30, international are waiting for you now on the campus. They can use more English tutors. So could it be that a coach could have the vision of, this is my little group that is going to be part of reaching out?
Yeah. I think it's totally possible to go in that direction. One of the things, just for brief context, is that we used to have the Orlando Institute that would do a lot of this training, and there's been a gap since that ended to what we currently have existing. So we're trying to get back to a place where we have that type of a culture where people are motivated and excited. So it's going to take us a few days, few weeks to get back there, but I think we're heading in the right direction. So I think that type of a example of 2 or 3 together, it does increase with peer pressure, but also gives relational connection and it can help with a lot of motivation. So I think that's a good
You
idea.
can do about
So,
anything with your friends, but if you're out there alone and your coach is gone, it's like, hey, man, it doesn't get done. So
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
fun stuff with your friends, maybe.
Yeah. So no, that's a good idea. Okay, that's all I have. Okay. Do you have any questions or? I don't have to.